Today we are estimating square roots, and if you know me, you know I hate estimating things, but actually square root estimating is a little bit easier than saying, hey, how far is it from here to that tree? I would tell you it's 200 yards and someone would be like, no, it's like 10 feet, because my estimation skills are subpar. So, anyways, each square root is between two consecutive integers. Name the integers and explain your answer. So, you have to think of the following to fill in that first blank. What are the perfect squares close to 55? And this is where it helps to have your perfect squares memorized. Because if I have my perfect squares memorized, I know that 7 squared is 49, and that 8 squared is 64, and that the square root of 55 has to fall somewhere in between those two numbers. Correct? So, 55 is between the square root of 49, which is 7, and the square root of 64, which is 8, because 55 is between 49 and 64. So you just have to know your doubles with multiplication. That's really all you have to know. Okay? So 90, well, 90 has to fall between the doubles of 9 and 10, because 90 comes between 81 and 100. So negative 9 squared is 81. Negative 10 squared is 100, because that's negative 9 times negative 9. And this is negative 10 times negative 10. Okay? So negative 90 is between negative 9 and negative 10, because 90 is between 81 and 100. And the reason we put the negatives here is because of that negative sign right there. So really, I would suggest you do the following. Square root of 4 would be 2. Square root of 9 would be 3. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 49 is 7. Square root of 64 is 8. Square root of 81 is 9. Square root of 100 is 10. Square root of 121 is 11. Square root of 144 is 12. Square root of 169 is 13. Let's see if I can do this over here. Square root of 196 is 14. Square root of 225 is 15. I would have at least those ones written down. So if you get the square root of 55, you just have to go, oh, the square root of 55 is between the square root of 49 and 64, so it's between 7 and 8. You can keep going and write down perfect squares. I would really recommend you write down your perfect squares up to 25, just in case you don't have a calculator one day for your test and you can't use someone else's calculator, then you'll have them written down. But that will help, because you can just look at the square root sign, the number under it, and see down below where that lies between what two square roots, and then the perfect squares are your answer. You want to sew a fringe on a square tablecloth. I had to sew an arm on a stuffed animal this summer, and I am not a sewing person, and I can't believe I figured it out without destroying the stuffed animal. I was pretty proud of myself. So, you want to sew a fringe on a square tablecloth with an area of 500 square inches. Calculate the length of each side of the tablecloth and the length of the fringe you will need to the nearest tenth of an inch. So, square tablecloth, watch this. We did this the other day. Area equals side squared. The area is 500 equals side squared. To undo a exponent, you take the square root or a square, you take the square root. Side squared is s, and the square root of 500 is 22.36. Okay? So, because 22.36 is between 22 squared and 23 squared, the square root of 500 is between 22 and 23. Right? So, and we know that's true because we found the square root of 500 was 22.36. So, we're going to guess 22 point, we're just going to take random guess. It says calculate the length of each side and the length of the fringe you will need to the nearest tenth of an inch. So, it says guess 22.5. 22.5 squared is 506.25, which is too high. Okay? So, because 22.5 is too high, we know it has to be between 22 and 22.5. So, we're going to guess 22.2. Well, 22.2 squared is 492.84, which is too low. It's under 500, so it's got to be between 22.2 and 22.5. So we're going to take another random guess, 22.4. We're going to square it. We get 501.76, which again is too high because it's over 500. So we know now the square root has to be between 22.2 and 22.4. So we're going to guess 22.3, and when we square that, we get 497.29, which is too low. So we know the square root has to be between 22.3 and 22.4. Okay? That was a really long process of doing this. You can guess and check all you want, but if you know that formula, it will tell you. Okay? So now they're going to start guessing between 22.3 and 22.4. So we're going to consider 22.35 squared. And we get 499.5225. And even though that's really, really close, it's too low. So the square root has to be bigger. It has to be somewhere between 22.35 to 22.4. So, to the nearest tenth, we're gonna say that this is 22.4. Okay? So the square root is about 22.4. So the length of each side is about 22.4. And you know that's right because we got 22.36, and that 6 makes that 3 go up to 22.4. So the length of a side of the tablecloth is 22.4 inches to the nearest tenth of an inch. Now estimate the length of the tablecloth. Well, we have 4 sides. Each side is 22.4, so we take 4 times 22.4 and get 89.6. So you will need about 89.6 inches of fringe. That example really bothered me because it was a lot of additional work. When you could have used this, multiplied 22.4 times 4, got 89.6. That's all you had to do. And I just spent 4.5 minutes teaching that to you. So, if you have a square, formula for area, substitute the area, take the square root of it, that'll give you one side of the square. Alright, now we're estimating because we love to estimate. Estimate the square root of 141 to the nearest hundredth. Okay, 141, if you wrote down those square roots, 141 is between the square root of 121 and the square root of 144. Okay, so it's less than, 121 is less than 141 and 144 is greater. So it lies between those two perfect squares. Okay? So we have the square root of 121 and the square root of 144. And simply, I just got that from the list we made earlier. Okay? That's all I got that from. Is that 141 lies between 121 and 144. Now the square root of 121 is 11 and the square root of 144 is 12. So the number will be between 11 and 12. So the whole part of the answer is 11 because it's between 11 and 12. It is not 11 and it is not 12. It's somewhere in between those two. So now we need to find the value of the decimal. So we take our original 141 and we subtract the lower perfect square root from it. So 141 minus 121 is 20. Okay, and then we take the higher and subtract the lower perfect square roots, and we get 23. So we get 20 over 23. We make that into a fraction or a ratio, and then we divide. So we take 20 divided by 23, and we get 0.87. So then to find the approximate value, we take the whole number part of 11 plus 0.87 and get 11.87. So the approximate value of the square root of 141 to the nearest hundredth is 11.87. So look, even if you don't have your calculator with you, you can figure out the approximate value of a square root, which is pretty cool. I've never seen that before in all my years. Use a calculator to find the square root of 600 and round to the nearest tenth. Well, that one's easy because all you have to do is put in 600, hit the square root button, and you get 24.494894743. And we round around it to the nearest tenth, so that 9 makes that 4 go up, so we get 24.5. And now you can do it, check it out, and make sure that you have your list of perfect squares from 1 to 25 written down in your notebook. I am going to hopefully to remember to check that. And if you don't, I'm not going to be very impressed with your listening skills.